Balkan, the land of endless wars. Where history and conflict intertwine. Not only on the battlefield but also in the shadows of the underworld. The Albanian Mafia and the Serbian Mafia, the most infamous names in the region, are not just rivals but fierce competitors for control over everything from critical drug trafficking routes to weapons and ultimate power. But what makes these two organizations so terrifying? Is it the deadly discretion of the Albanian Mafia? Or the boldness and ruthlessness of the Serbian Mafia? How did they rise to become the kingpins of the region? And who truly holds the reins of power? In today's video, we will embark on a gripping journey into the dark corners of these two criminal organizations. From their goals and strategies to their bloody confrontations, everything will be unveiled. Get ready, because this is not just a story about the underworld but an unending war between the two most powerful forces in the Balkans. Balkan, a land not just a geographic crossroad between East and West, but also a stage for countless historical conflicts. Amid the shadows of these upheavals, two underground forces have risen as symbols of criminal power: the Albanian Mafia and the Serbian Mafia. But what makes these two organizations so fearsome? The answer lies in how they set their goals and expand their influence. The Albanian Mafia, originating from a small nation nestled within the Balkans, has rapidly expanded its reach across the globe. Their objectives are clear: control over drug markets, human trafficking, money laundering, and arms smuggling. But their ambitions are not confined to the Balkans. They have built a sprawling criminal network stretching from Europe to the United States. In Berlin, they dominate major drug deals, while in London, they manipulate human trafficking routes. In the US, particularly in New York, they quietly operate money laundering schemes through legitimate businesses as a front. Along the Balkan corridor, Europe's most critical smuggling route, the Albanian Mafia serves as a powerful intermediary. They coordinate the flow of drugs from Afghanistan, through Turkey and the Balkans, to major cities in Western Europe. They also control a portion of the drug market in Italy, where they both cooperate and compete with the Italian Mafia to divide the profits from this lucrative trade. However, it's not just the Albanian Mafia with grand ambitions. The Serbian Mafia, while more focused on Eastern Europe, is equally dangerous. This organization holds power in Serbia, Montenegro, and neighboring countries like Bosnia and Croatia. During the Yugoslav wars, they exploited the chaos to expand their operations, from arms smuggling and looting to orchestrating assassinations. While the international reach of the Serbian Mafia is not as extensive as that of the Albanian Mafia, their strength within the Balkans is formidable. The Serbian Mafia is notorious for leveraging political and military connections to solidify its power. In Serbia, they not only operate in the shadows but also manipulate legitimate businesses, turning them into tools for concealing illegal activities. Imagine this: while the Albanian Mafia quietly extends its network across Europe, the Serbian Mafia emerges as a bold force, unafraid to confront authorities or rival gangs. But what sets them apart in their impact on their communities? The Albanian Mafia, with its family-based structure and adherence to the traditional Kanun code, is often seen by Albanian communities abroad as protectors. They maintain cultural ties and loyalty within the community, which not only helps them conceal their activities but also garners support. In London, for instance, the Albanian Mafia is known as the shadow bosses, running everything from drugs to human trafficking, but rarely face public denunciation due to the tight-knit community bonds. In contrast, the Serbian Mafia wields broader influence in Balkan politics and society. They manipulate major businesses, fund political campaigns, and even interfere in government decisions. A prime example is during the post-Yugoslav war period, where they controlled nearly all arms smuggling operations in the region. However, this boldness also leaves the Serbian Mafia with a more apparent negative legacy. Public shootouts, bombings targeting rivals, and the use of young recruits for dangerous tasks have made the Serbian Mafia a symbol of chaos in the Balkans. Nonetheless, it's undeniable that both organizations skillfully exploit the strategic position of the Balkans to sustain their operations and expand their reach. For the Albanian Mafia, it's a strategy of quiet yet effective moves. For the Serbian Mafia, it's a blend of boldness and aggression. So, what truly sustains their dominance? Is it their organizational structure or their cunning strategies? In the next part, we will delve deeper to uncover how they operate and the specific tactics they use to achieve their objectives. If goals and scope define the ambitions of a criminal organization, then organizational structure and strategy are the factors that determine success or failure. For the Albanian Mafia and Serbian Mafia, these two groups operate in entirely different ways, reflecting the unique cultural and historical characteristics of each faction. Let's begin with the Albanian Mafia. This organization operates under a tight-knit familial system inspired by the traditional Albanian code known as cunning. This unwritten set of laws, existing for centuries, revolves around absolute loyalty, honor, and vengeance. In the structure of the Albanian Mafia, the leader is not only a figure of authority but also a symbol of power and loyalty. Their commands are never questioned, and any betrayal is met with extreme measures. Thanks to this family-based system, the Albanian Mafia is almost immune to infiltration by law enforcement or rivals. Anyone wishing to join the organization must undergo rigorous tests, from proving their loyalty to completing high-risk tasks. Once accepted, they become part of the family and are protected by the entire organization. While the Albanian Mafia is renowned for its secrecy and organization, the Serbian Mafia takes an entirely different approach. Unbound by a family system, they operate in small, independent groups. However, when needed, these groups can come together to execute large-scale operations. The Serbian Mafia leverages its connections with political and military forces to build power. During the Yugoslav wars, they used military officers to coordinate arms trafficking and smuggling activities. Many members of the organization are former soldiers, trained in tactics and weaponry, making them adept at executing dangerous missions. One of the most significant differences between these two organizations lies in their operational strategies. The Albanian Mafia opts for invisibility, avoiding the attention of law enforcement and media. Their activities, from drug trafficking and human smuggling to money laundering, are carried out with such sophistication that they are hard to detect. Legitimate businesses such as cafes, restaurants, or transportation companies are often used as fronts for their criminal operations. On the other hand, the Serbian Mafia is unafraid to flaunt its power. They use public violence to intimidate rivals or send warnings to authorities. A prime example is the bombings and assassinations carried out in broad daylight in major cities like Belgrade. Public shootouts, though they attract police attention, are a way to demonstrate dominance and assert control. However, both organizations share one critical strength: adaptability. While the Albanian Mafia operates discreetly, they do not shy away from violence when necessary. A notable example is the assassination of an Italian drug lord in Milan in 2010. Executed swiftly and without leaving any trace. For the Serbian Mafia, their boldness can sometimes be a vulnerability. Several high-profile killings have made them a prime target for law enforcement. Yet, this does not deter them. They exploit corrupt officials to navigate around the law and continue expanding their operations. Another noteworthy point is how these two organizations utilize their human resources. In the Albanian Mafia, women are often tasked with transporting drugs across borders. With appearances less likely to arouse suspicion, they serve as valuable assets for the organization. The Serbian Mafia, in contrast, frequently recruits young men for dangerous missions such as assassinations or bombings. These recruits, often from impoverished backgrounds, view joining the Mafia as their only path to a better life. So, what sets these two organizations apart in their methods of operation? Is it the Albanian Mafia's secrecy and strict organization, or the Serbian Mafia's boldness and audacity? To answer this question, we must delve into how they wield violence and the extent of their notoriety. That will be the focus of the next part of our exploration. Violence, a tool to establish and maintain power in the underworld. For both the Albanian Mafia and the Serbian Mafia, violence is not merely a means but an indispensable part of their reputation. Interestingly, the way they employ violence starkly contrasts, reflecting the operational philosophies of these two organizations. The Albanian Mafia, as previously mentioned, operates under the principle of invisibility. Violence is not their first choice. However, this does not imply they are lenient. In reality, the violence they employ is often strategic, executed with cold precision and efficiency. A prime example is the assassination in Milan in 2010. An Italian drug lord dared to challenge the Albanian Mafia's control over drug routes from Albania to Italy. Within weeks, the man was murdered right at his doorstep. The execution was so clean that no traces were left behind. And it took the police years to uncover the mastermind. This exemplifies the Albanian Mafia's hallmark style: swift, calculated, and ruthless. What makes the Albanian Mafia truly terrifying, however, is not the murders themselves but their use of fear to control both rivals and their own members. Internal executions are a clear demonstration of this. A betrayal by a member? Death is not the worst fate awaiting them. Their family would also pay the price. This creates a tight circle of control where loyalty is not just a virtue but a condition for survival. In stark contrast, the Serbian Mafia seems to use violence as its primary language. In their world, power is not demonstrated through silence but through chaos. Public shootouts, daylight bombings, and political assassinations are the Serbian Mafia's trademarks. Let's revisit 2003, when Serbian Prime Minister Zoran Đinđić was assassinated in the heart of Belgrade. This assassination not only shook Serbia but also the entirety of Europe. Reports suggest the involvement of Serbian mafia groups, who aimed to maintain their influence within the government. This exemplifies how the Serbian Mafia is willing to use violence to protect their interests. The public shootouts in Belgrade during the 1990s are another testament to the Serbian Mafia's audacity. Rival groups clashed not in the shadows but on the streets, terrorizing civilians and leaving authorities helpless. Some residents referred to this period as the dark days, when gangs virtually controlled the entire city. However, this blatant use of violence is a double-edged sword. It has made the Serbian Mafia a top target for law enforcement and government crackdowns. Large-scale raids have resulted in many members being arrested or killed. Yet, surprisingly, despite the heavy pressure from authorities, the Serbian Mafia continues to survive and expand its operations. When it comes to notoriety, both organizations have their strengths. The Albanian Mafia is regarded as one of the most efficient criminal organizations in the world. According to a 2020 Europol report, they control 40% of all drugs smuggled into Europe. However, their discretion makes them less known to the public. To outsiders, they are ghosts, dangerous but elusive. The Serbian Mafia, on the other hand, is a household name in headlines. From political assassinations to street shootouts, they are always at the center of attention. This not only instills fear but also solidifies their reputation in the underworld. To many, the Serbian Mafia is a symbol of chaos and absolute power in the Balkans. So, between secrecy and boldness, which is the key to a criminal organization's longevity? To answer this question, we must examine how these two organizations confront each other and the strategies they use to maintain their power. That will be the focus of the next part of our exploration. When two powerful, ambitious criminal organizations share the same territory, conflict becomes inevitable. The Albanian Mafia and the Serbian Mafia, despite their contrasting methods of operation, are in constant pursuit of dominance over the Balkan region. Their confrontations occur not only in the shadows but sometimes openly, leaving devastating consequences for both the underworld and society at large. One of the most significant hotspots is Kosovo, a strategic region for the transportation of drugs and weapons through the Balkans. Kosovo, a disputed territory between Albanians and Serbs, has become the main battleground for these two organizations. During the 1990s, amidst the chaos of the Yugoslav wars, the Albanian Mafia began establishing a drug trafficking network that stretched from Afghanistan through Turkey and Kosovo into Europe. However, the Serbian Mafia was not to be outdone. They leveraged support from the Serbian military to protect their roots and were ready to confront anyone challenging their authority. The clashes in Kosovo were not minor skirmishes. A notable incident occurred in 1998, when a convoy of Albanian Mafia drug shipments was ambushed near the Serbian border. The convoy was completely destroyed, and its members were killed in an attack allegedly orchestrated by the Serbian Mafia. In retaliation, the Albanian Mafia staged an ambush on Serbian soil, targeting one of their rivals' high-ranking leaders. Such incidents not only escalated tensions between the two organizations but also drew the attention of international authorities. European law enforcement agencies recognized that failing to contain this gang war could turn the entire Balkan region into an underground war zone, where the rule of law held no sway. The strategies employed by both organizations further reflect their operational philosophies. The Albanian Mafia, with its discreet approach, often opts for economic sabotage and cutting off its rivals' supply chains. For example, in 2010, they used their connections with corrupt officials in Turkey to block a Serbian mafia arms trafficking route, severely disrupting their rivals' operations in the Balkans. The Serbian Mafia, on the other hand, favors military-style strength. They are unafraid to launch surprise attacks on Albanian Mafia territories, aiming to sow panic and weaken their opponents' morale. A prime example was the arson of a warehouse in Tirana, which was believed to be a major drug storage hub for the Albanian Mafia. However, neither organization has to contend only with each other. They also face increasing pressure from law enforcement. Authorities in Serbia, Albania, and international organizations like Europol have launched numerous campaigns to dismantle both groups' operations. In a major 2015 operation, European police arrested over 50 members of the Albanian Mafia in a raid across Germany and Italy. This dealt a significant blow to the organization but simultaneously provided an opportunity for the Serbian Mafia to expand its influence. Conversely, the Serbian Mafia has also suffered heavy losses. In 2018, a large-scale Serbian police operation dismantled a weapons trafficking ring, capturing key members of the organization. The Albanian Mafia quickly seized this chance to take control of transportation routes in Montenegro. Despite these fierce battles and substantial losses, both organizations have managed to endure, thanks to their adaptability and evolving strategies. However, the prolonged conflicts and internal pressures have begun to expose fatal weaknesses within each group. What prevents the Albanian Mafia and Serbian Mafia, despite their strength, from completely overpowering each other? Where do their strengths and vulnerabilities lie? And what legacy will they leave in the Balkan underworld? The answers await in the final chapter. The Albanian Mafia and Serbian Mafia, two formidable forces in the Balkan underworld, are not only known for their brutality but also for their extraordinary strategies and adaptability. However, no power is without limits, and no organization is perfect. The strengths that elevated them to kingpins of the region are also the seeds of their vulnerabilities and eventual decline. Starting with the Albanian Mafia, their greatest strength lies in their tight-knit family structure and unwavering loyalty. Rooted in the Kanun Code, this system creates an organization that is almost impervious to infiltration. Absolute loyalty and meticulous vetting of new members ensure that law enforcement or rivals rarely penetrate their ranks. Moreover, their discretion is a formidable weapon. The Albanian Mafia avoids drawing attention, operating quietly but effectively. Legitimate businesses, from cafes to restaurants, serve as perfect fronts for their underground dealings. This modus operandi earns them the nickname, ghosts of the underworld, always present but never fully visible. However, this discretion is a double-edged sword. The Albanian Mafia's reliance on family-based systems limits their expansion into areas without an Albanian community. Furthermore, their tight-knit bonds can become a weakness if a single member is captured or betrays the organization. A notable incident occurred in 2020 when a senior member was arrested in London and revealed critical details about their cross-border drug operations, causing significant losses for the group. In contrast, the Serbian Mafia's greatest strength lies in their audacity and ability to exploit political connections. With support from corrupt officials and former military personnel, they have access to resources few organizations can match. From military-grade weapons to insider information, the Serbian Mafia knows how to leverage opportunities to strengthen its position. However, their boldness is also their Achilles heel. Public shootouts and bombings not only attract law enforcement's attention but also alienate local communities. This visibility makes them a prime target for government crackdowns. A major operation in 2018 saw over 70 Serbian Mafia members arrested across Serbia, Montenegro, and Bosnia. Additionally, the Serbian Mafia's loose organizational structure is a significant weakness. Unlike the tightly controlled Albanian Mafia, their decentralized system makes them prone to internal conflict. In several instances, smaller factions within the Serbian Mafia have turned on each other, further weakening the organization. So, what is the fate of these two organizations? While both continue to operate, their power has diminished considerably in recent years. The Albanian Mafia, though still controlling a significant portion of Europe's drug trade, faces mounting pressure from international agencies and rising competition from other gangs. The Serbian Mafia, on the other hand, has been severely weakened by law enforcement crackdowns and internal fragmentation. Yet their legacies endure. The Albanian Mafia is regarded as a model of efficiency and discretion in transnational organized crime. Their invisible strategy has become a blueprint for many other criminal organizations. The Serbian Mafia, in contrast, leaves behind a legacy of audacity and dominance in the Balkan underworld. They symbolize a chaotic era when law and order were nearly non-existent. Even their imagery contributes to their enduring legacy. The Albanian Mafia is often associated with men in black suits, exuding a calm and cold demeanor. Meanwhile, the Serbian Mafia is distinguished by intricate tattoos and bold street style. Symbols like cobras and daggers have become identifiers in the criminal underworld. So, in this unending rivalry, who truly reigns as the kingpin of the Balkans? Is it the Albanian Mafia, with their tight organization and discretion, or the Serbian Mafia, with their military power and audacity? The answer likely depends on one's perspective. But one thing is certain: both organizations have left an indelible mark on the history of the underworld. If you found today's story fascinating and want to explore more about other criminal organizations around the world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any upcoming content. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.